Hey everyone, it's Tripl-L. Now it's time to talk My Hero Academia, this time specifically family theories. The question of the moment is Dabi related to the Todorokis? In this video, we're gonna go across 4 general ideas that are being thrown around and of course my own opinion on it. So before we get into it, you gotta know, why is this even a question? Even before the events of a certain manga arc? Well, there's surface level stuff like Endeavor and Dabi having flame based quirks, and also Endeavor and Dabi having the same eye color. I mean, that's something, right? There was also a fact that Dabi's name hasn't been officially revealed in the manga. Dabi is still potentially an alias, and most likely is. Dabi itself means cremation, and cremation is the name of the quirk. Pretty simple, self-explanatory. In my experience though with the manga, this really blew up in my awareness when we had this scene during the summer camp. And sure enough, when this was animated, people jumped on it because it's not like 2 characters can have a stare down and not have that imply a connection, right? So with that out of the way, let's talk about the ideas that relate these 3 characters. Dabi is not related to the Todorokis whatsoever. So one of the big things that really propel fans forward is the idea that since they have fire quirks, it might mean they're related, and then the eye color thing can be applied there, you know, common genetic traits implying a common heritage. But really, is there anything stopping a fire quirk from coming from another family line? Tokyo's population is over 9 million. Statistically, it is totally reasonable to expect that within 9 million people of the most populated city in Japan, that fire quirks can manifest without someone being related to the Todoroki family. I think that's totally reasonable. This line of thought aims to point out a legitimate reality, that is, it is not impossible for 2 unrelated people to have elemental quirks and to just deflate that extra sense of familial drama. That said, finding examples of this counter is pretty tough, and closest thing we have right now is that Izuku's father has a fire-breathing quirk and they don't seem to be related to the Endeavor family. Or to keep with the fire quirks, we have this girl from Izuku's class back when he was in middle school. Credits go to Skelly or Skellington, because I think that's how you go on YouTube, for pointing this out on the Discord group. I would not have caught this otherwise, but hey guys, here's another thing, like, there's a fire quirk user here, but she doesn't really seem to be related to Endeavor. Heck, her hair's the wrong color. Without a doubt, there is a reasonable doubt here at the idea that the fire quirks are exclusive to the Todoroki line. Other kind of vague examples include the fact that Koda has a water creation quirk by as far as we can tell, and there's also a firefighter hero who creates and manipulates water. Then you look at the guy that Ida was working with during his internship, he can manipulate water as well, and those 3 don't seem to be related, but the quirks, again, they're not properly described, so we can't really do a proper comparison. On another end, we have Edgeshot, who has his folded body quirk, and then we had this guy who was noted as having a similar quirk to Edgeshot, and again, these guys don't seem related. So we have possibilities here, but that could easily change with a single line from the author. Overall though, I give this idea 3 trips out of 10. I don't think this is that crazy. But there is one I think you can most likely argue. Dabi is a distant relative, so the big thing with quirks is that they have a strong presence in families. We know that when it comes to quirk inheritance, 5 things can happen. Either you come out quirkless, you come out with your mother's quirk, you come out with your father's quirk, you come out with a combination of your parents' quirk, or you come out with a mutation. The mutation could account for the previous theory. It accounts for how someone could be unrelated to the family. But as we see, there's more outcomes associated to family line. This rationale though aims to compromise. It gives you that sense of distance and deflation of that family drama while still conceding the point of Dabi being related to the Todorokis. I mean, when you're going through the story, it feels like it makes more sense that quirks can indicate family relationships. While it removes the drama of, oh god, Shoto, you have a homicidal brother, it replaces it with the much more reasonable drama of, oh god, Shoto, you have a distant homicidal cousin that we didn't know about. In this approach, you can also add other anime favorite plot lines or dynamics like the branch family that scorns the main family and wants their time in the light. For extra points, the Todorokis tend to be more traditional. We see it in their choice of home and their choice of customs such as arranged marriage to keep the blood strong. It wouldn't be too crazy to have a main family branch family conflict in Hero Academia. Maybe Endeavor has a disgraced older brother or something and Dabi wants revenge. Maybe that older brother was a villain and Endeavor had to put him down. Maybe Dabi really hates Endeavor now. Who knows? I give this one 2 trips out of 10. I really do think distant relation is more likely than no relation at all. But distant relation, so distant that it could be negligible. Next up, Dabi is Endeavor's illegitimate child and Shoto is his half-brother. Okay, natural progression. The idea is simple. Endeavor was young and stupid and he knocked someone up. That lady didn't want anything to do with him and kept her child away from his father. Maybe she lies to the kid about who the father is and prays that the kid never finds out. Super simple. You can practically smell the drama. This scenario justifies the malice towards Endeavor, it justifies Shoto getting special attention from Dabi, and explains the similarity and quirks. Easy enough. One thing to note though is that I personally do think that for this to work best, it requires that Endeavor is legitimately unaware of Dabi's existence, because otherwise it wastes some panels that the author dedicated to a monologue for Endeavor. I think this is relatively reasonable. It hinges on Endeavor being irresponsible. I'd say 5 trips out of 10, it could go either way. And finally, Dabi is legitimately Shoto's full brother. Okay, this I think is the craziest of the general theories. The idea is that Dabi is one of Shoto's 3 older siblings, that he's the one pictured here. I think this is so unlikely. One of the biggest things is that by chapter 190 of the manga, we have gotten no indication that the Todorokis don't know where this kid is, which should be a big tell. Now fans might say that just because we haven't had a scene where the family notes something about a missing brother, it doesn't mean it's not happening, and while that's fair, I think it's a real stretch. But this is the kind of thing that should be pointed out. The fact it's not tells me it's not a thing. Now if the Todorokis have a legitimate 5th kid that they told no one about, I'd be willing to buy that. But you know, even aside from a hidden child, there's tons of ways that people get creative and try to justify this before we get a concrete answer. Like heck, you could go down the route that maybe they don't talk about him because maybe Dabi or the other brother that Shoto had just died in an accident, so they have no reason to talk about a departed person, and then you know you can add that into explaining why he has those facial burns. Maybe it was an accident involving Endeavor or like other things, and you can play that card too. Some people could make the argument that maybe Dabi has kept in contact with his family, that he keeps telling them that he's away somewhere and he's just really good at lying. But even then, I don't know, like the more convoluted you have to make it to justify how they're accounting for a potential missing kid, because Dabi's just going all over the place, yeah, I think it gets more and more unlikely the more hoops you have to jump through. But I am willing to listen to your guys' opinions. What do you guys think is going on with the whole Dabi thing? Let me know down below. Any really interesting theories or ideas, I will make another video to give your guys' input and put it out there so that, you know, give you guys your time in the sun. Okay, and we're kind of wrapping up here, but before I close off, I do want to give props to one commenter, Michael Carlton. He had a really interesting theory going back with Dabi. You know the infamous line where Shoto's mother was saying his left side reminds me of him? Michael was saying that what if this is actually referring to Dabi? What if that trauma wasn't Endeavor, but she was thinking of that other child? That's pretty interesting, because that starts talking about the hidden shame of the Todoroki family, and it fits under this one, the idea that he is legitimate child and a 5th child. If we go down that route, like honestly, that's gonna be pretty interesting. But again, we had a monologue about Endeavor not wanting to let go of things, and letting go of a child seems like something that could contradict that potential monologue. Anyway, now ultimately there's a lot of mystery surrounding Dabi. He's a very mysterious guy. He has anger towards hero society. He is one of the people that bought into Stain's ideology. He doesn't like the idea of false heroes. The man looks disfigured. The man might have some other kind of history with Endeavor. Maybe Endeavor snubbed him in the wrong way. Maybe he just doesn't like Endeavor in general. Figuring out what Dabi's motive is, the family theories do offer some motive, because if you give him some family angst, that is good enough motivation to hate a person or to go after a person. But that really could be anything. It all depends on how the author writes it. And to cover all those possible ideas would be quite an undertaking. But guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. Overall, if I was to place a final bet on this one, I'm not gonna lie, I really want to say he's not related at all. I really want to be the guy that just says like, no, come on, like we don't have to be that dramatic. But it's also very likely that he could be related. But if I was to make a final prediction, I am so not betting on a legitimate full brother. I would much rather say a distant relative, if not just not related at all. But that I'm pretty much doing that out of pride and the desire to not want to have so much family drama in Hero Academia. All I can say for sure, I do not think at all it's a legitimate full brother. But hey, maybe you guys can change my mind. Let me know down below, and yeah, let's end it there. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.